English has three aspects. We've already talked about the simple aspect, so now let's talk about the continuous aspect. What is the focus? When people make continuous sentences, or when you make continuous sentences, you must understand that the focus is the duration of the action. Okay? Now the simple aspect focuses on the start and the finish, but the continuous aspect focuses on between the start and the finish of an action. Right here, between the start and finish. Okay? And it's never permanent. And if you don't understand the word permanent, permanent means like forever. It's never permanent. If you use a continuous tense, the meaning is it's never permanent, always, forever. It always means it's temporary, not forever. So let's look at some examples. Okay? She is probably sleeping right now. Okay? She is. This is the present continuous. So my meaning is, for her, sleep has already started, but it hasn't finished yet. Okay? Now, the past continuous. I was watching TV at 9 p.m. last night. So now here we have the past continuous, and I was watching TV at 9 p.m. So 9 p.m. is here, but start watching TV was before 9 p.m. Finish watching TV was probably after 9 p.m. So I'm focusing on between the start and the finish. Okay, now the future continuous. We will be living in France this time next year. So this time next year means, well, when we're making this video right now, it's June 2012. So if I say this time next year, I'm talking about June 2013. And we will be living in France means start living in France will happen before June, but finish living in France will happen after June. So again, I'm focusing on the duration. I'm focusing on before June and after June. Okay? And finally, we have been studying hard. Okay, this is present perfect continuous. We have been studying hard. Okay, I'm not focusing on completion, I'm focusing on the duration. Maybe study hard is finished. It's not important. It doesn't matter in the present perfect continuous. Okay, now, when you use the continuous aspect, like I just told you, the action may not be finished. Maybe it's not finished. Let's look at some examples. She was having a bath when the fire started in her living room. She was having a bath when the fire started. Did she finish having her bath? No, because a fire started. So we use the continuous often when something is not finished, right? Who has been eating my French fries? Who has been eating my French fries? Well, this means there are still some French fries left, right? If the action eat my French fries is complete, I don't use the continuous. I would say, who has eaten my French fries? But it's not finished. So, who has been eating my French fries? Okay, and the last example, the boy was playing video games when I turned off the TV. So he was playing video games, but he didn't finish because I turned off the TV. Now, you've probably studied this before, but with stative verbs, state verbs, we rarely use the continuous aspect or the continuous tenses. Okay, so some verbs in English, we call them stative verbs. And you've probably studied don't use the continuous tenses because they are seen as permanent. State verbs are seen as, well, they happen forever, or if not forever, they happen for a very long time, and they don't change. They don't change very often. Okay, so when you use state verbs, we choose to use the simple aspect, not the continuous. Let's look at some examples. Did you understand class yesterday? Did you understand class? Understand is a state verb. I love this kind of weather. I love it. Okay? She really believes in ghosts. Well, believe, we don't use continuous usually. And that car costs too much. So these verbs are stative verbs. You've studied them before. We rarely use the continuous tenses. And let's move on. Now, some verbs in English usually last a long time. Example, live, work, play, and learn. And you can use the continuous tenses. These are not state verbs. You can use the continuous tenses, but if you use continuous tenses with these verbs, it really focuses that these actions are temporary. Okay, they're temporary. So I work in New York, but I have been working in Cairo for the last year. So I'm really focusing that work in Cairo is temporary. She is living abroad right now. Right? Usually we say she lives, but she is living means it's temporary. The team was playing really well. I'm surprised they lost the game. Now, the last point about the continuous tenses is short actions. Well, short actions, we usually don't use the continuous aspect because they're very short actions. The player made an amazing play. That car hit a cat. He fired the gun. I have spent all my money. So these actions are very short, so we usually don't use continuous tenses with short actions. If you'd like to practice this more, click on the link in the video.